So my whole thing is I have a very high work rate because when we were in WCW, bro, we were around. I wanted to be in that conversation with you, Disco, the one where you brought on
Mike Bennett.
Who? Mike
Bennett. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because, bro, let me tell you, I don't give a what anybody says. I was there. You were there. Scott Steiner, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Roddy Piper, you were not going to tell them what to do. You were not going to tell Raven what to do.
Yeah,
they were not going to sit around and go, "Oh, I don't want to walk on eggshells." We didn't give a we walked over the eggshells, and we had to deal with.
Let me tell you this.
And let me say another thing. Scott Steiner should have been one of the biggest stars we ever had in our business, but Ric Flair 1,000% held them back. Why, I don't know, because Ric Flair to me was a humongous douche when I was in WWE, and I know that doesn't sound very nice to say, but he was. And so, but also Steiner winning the business for himself because he had what else could he do? You know what I'm saying? But back then, weren't waiting around hoping somebody gave him a chance. We just took the I was watching in the hospital A Few Good Men, right? Remember that movie?
Yeah, it's a great flick.
So I watched the whole movie from start to finish. The casting was great. The acting was great. The storytelling was great. The hooks was great. The logic was great. Then I watched Pulp Fiction, which I hadn't seen in years.
Nice.
Bro, what a classic. We grew up around great movies, great angles. We know what works.
Give a perfect example. Bro, how many quotable movies are there these days?
Oh, man.
Bro, we grew up in an era of quotable movies.
Yeah,
right.
Movies that like Caddyshack, Animal House, like all these movies, Lethal Weapon,
movies too.
Die Hard.
Yeah, Slapshot.
Tons of movies you could quote. There were so many quote. Bro, how many quotable movies are there these days?
Right.
Like where you're quoting what people say. Bro, even art back in our era was better than it is now.
Yeah.
Like we're literally like guys who are making movies that like are so ingrained in our minds, we remember every word they've said. And now it's like we make movies with CGI and some explosions. You can't really remember. That's what you remember.
Right.
But it's funny too because you were talking about Raven, how guys like say, oh, we have to do what they say. Bro, remember when Raven
was a genius, bro.
It was a Saturday night TV tape. This is a great story. And Raven was constant. He was a U.S. champion at the time. Maybe not either. He was very high on the card. He was the guy who was trying to break the bubble.
Right.
He was trying to break through the glass. He was right there, like knocking on the glass with a hammer.
Right. He was.
And he was trying to get over to get him and Sullivan were always butting heads up because he was trying to he was trying to advance himself, and Sullivan was trying to keep him down because the top guys didn't want to work with him yet, right?
Right.
So remember the Saturday night taping that they had, but it was a good crowd, and they were going to do it. There was going to be a dark match, okay, after the taping, okay, and all the bookers were there, except for because we were in the middle of like a loop or something. And remember, so Raven was supposed to wrestle Goldberg, and Goldberg was going to go over, and Raven was in the middle of this period where he didn't like doing jobs and didn't want to do a clean job.
Bro, I remember this period perfectly.
And remember, without telling the office. He got Canyon to slide in because they were doing an angle 2 at the time.
Yeah.
Got Canyon to slide in. Canyon give him his finish to Raven before and slide out before you give the diamond cutter before Goldberg speared him, so he didn't really lose clean.
Right. He got mega heat.
But bro, it's like he got solar heat, but he basically the office. He still didn't get sent home.
No.
He didn't get it. It was just heat. It was that. But
how many guys would do that today?
Zero. Like zero would stand up for themselves like that.
Bro, when I remember when the Young Bucks were in Mexico, and I will never, ever, ever talk bad about them ever. And I told them, bro, you have no idea what you're about to face. You will never see the wrestling business ever again the same, because I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen, because it's been a self-fulfilling prophecy during my whole career. I get the Mexico. I blow up like Goldberg, bro. There is no other word. Vampiro did too, and I'll give him his credit. I was the man. I couldn't walk nowhere. I literally could not walk the streets. Obviously, you get a big head. All the chicks want to with you. Everybody wants to meet you. Everyone wants to take you out to dinner. So now you get this not a realistic way of how the world actually functions. you know? So I leave this place called Toreo, which is the number one promotion in Mexico. Like that's where Andre the Giant went, Fujinami went, all the New Japan guys went. Okay? But the jealousy started because I was a big draw. I was out drawing guys that had been in the business for 30 years. And then the jealousy started. So every time Big Van Vader came in, the local heel, his name was Konnan, he would turn babyface. Okay? Do you catch me?
Yeah.
So when I would come back and I would wrestle Konnan, who do you think they were cheering? And I was the babyface.
Konnan.
Right. Because he beat Fujinami, because he beat Hogan, because he beat Vader, because he beat Owen Hart, because he beat Chris Benoit, right?
Right.
Okay. So not knowing anything about wrestling, because remember, Disco, I did not grow up a wrestling fan. When I hear Russo saying this guy's a mark, he's a mark, bro. He was doing a newspaper show, a radio show with John Arezzi. Those are old school marks. Meltzer, Keller, those are the original marks. Them. Yeah. They're making fun of each other.
Right.
All right. Okay. I was a football mark. I was not a wrestling mark. I didn't have posters of Dusty Rhodes and like that on my wall. I had football players and baseball players. That's what I was a mark for. You know, wrestling was just something fun because I liked the promos. I had no idea Muhammad Ali got his promos from wrestling. So every time I saw him, I'm the greatest in the world. Come down to Miami Beach. Miami Beach? He trains in Miami Beach? Whoa, I live 10 minutes from there. I took a bus to go see him because he was so, you know, when I saw Freddie Blassie, I was like, what the hell is this? This guy's over the top incredible. When I saw Roddy Piper making fun of Chavo Guerrero, I thought that was the most hilarious thing I'd ever seen in my life. They were characters, right? But I wasn't a wrestling mark. And I don't use that in a derogatory way because I was a football mark, okay? Mm-hmm. So I leave the Toreo, one of the biggest draw in Mexico. I go to Arena Mexico. Arena Mexico starts putting TV on for the first time in 30 years. They had taken wrestling off TV. Imagine that, for 30 years. They hadn't let women on TV for like 50 years.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Jesus.
Okay? So now it happens again. The jealousy, the egos, the wrestlers working the promoter, wrestlers trying to bury me. I go to AAA. We blow up like you have no idea. At the beginning, everybody's together, everybody's friends, one for all for one. Then come the drugs, then come the fame, then come the women, then come the contracts. I said, oh my God. Then I go to ECW. Bro, I love that place. Then it happened. The drugs, the power, the lying, the groupies. Same. I get to WCW. How cool was Eric when we first went to WCW at the beginning?
Pretty cool.
Very cool. Then what happened? He started hanging out with the boys. He was now a biker with them. He was doing drugs with them. He was marking out for them. They knew how to work them, bro. Right? And Lucha Underground. I'll never forget this ever, never. Oh, we got this passion project for you, Konnan. You finally get the right lucha how you always wanted to. Really? Never forget this, bro. Never forget this. I'm sitting there with Alberto Del Rio. I see Vampiro, a white guy, who, even though he started in Mexico and should know better, he was all about getting power. Chris DeJoseph, some guy that doesn't speak Spanish, has zero to do with Lucha Libre, but was fortunate enough to know this guy from Survivor, whatever the his name is.
Mark Burnett or something?
Who was a humongous pain in the ass and held back Lucha Underground probably more than any single person, if we're going to be honest. And it was Krista Joseph and this guy called Eric Van Wagen, okay, who was an executive producer. Remember that show, Disco? What was that show? Tough Enough.
I thought you said he was a producer on Apprentice.
And Survivor, yes. But also on he was on Apprentice, Survivor. He was part of that.
But see, he knows Trump, but he knows Trump very well.
Right, yeah, he knows him very well, right. But he also did Tough Enough.
Right.
Remember that show, Tough Enough?
Yeah, of course.
All right, so that was his, bro, wrestling's like anything else. It's networking. That's why when a politician comes in, he fires everybody and he brings in his own crew.
Yeah.
It's who do you know? He didn't know me. Christopher DeJoseph didn't know me. He knew Chavo. He was a humongous mark for Vamp. Once Vamp figured that out, it was a done deal. And I remember sitting in a room with Alberto Del Rio, and we used to call him the White Mafia. And I said, watch them this up. And that's exactly what they did. They it up. And at the beginning, when everybody, since nobody had work at Evelise, nobody knew Evelise, nobody knew Willie Mack, nobody knew Jeff Cobb, nobody knew Brian Cage. Bro, I swear on my mother's life, I recommended 90% of those guys. They didn't even know who the they were. Okay? And then the ego started. They started to empower women. Now the women actually thought they were as good as the men, which they weren't.
Right.
And then now you had to be politically correct and super snowflake California the way you spoke to talent, you know? And now it was like...
Let me just real sidebar.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten admonished by anybody for
1,000%.
speaking to talent the wrong way? Give me an example. Give me a story.
No, the talent the wrong way, no, because I'm very, very, very direct, and if you don't like it, that's on you. I very, very rarely been admonished for what talent does hate me for, and that's too bad for them, is they think that because they can work other people, they can work me. Like I'm going to mark out for them. Now, I'm not marking out for you. See, there's a problem. Now we have a problem because I'm not going to mark out for you and let you do what you want to do at the detriment of my company. And so now I tell people, for many years, I was too passive and I didn't want people to say, oh, what a good. I am a You're not going to get away with just because it benefits you and it doesn't benefit the company I work for. Because now you're disrespecting my work, and the other people that come on time and are professional and are trying to do their job because you got a ego. That's not happening no more, ever, never. And I succumb to that, and I never will again. So if you want to come to work, come to work. You want to come and and want me to suck your and tell you how good you are when you're not? Wrong guy, dude. Wrong guy. You know, and poor Tony Khan, because he thinks because he watched a lot of wrestling, that makes him an expert. No, bro. Do you know how many people are just telling you what you want to hear because you're paying them?
Bro, listen to this. I listened. He had an interview. He got it. Meltzer and Alvarez had them on. Alvarez and somebody had them on.
Alvarez and Semper Bibi.
I listened to this. Did you listen to this? Do you listen to it, Joe?
I just did before we got on here, yeah.
Bro, the guy is and this is the level of what he's talking about. Remember how we used to just jump into the message boards at WrestleZone and we troll the message boards and stuff? Right. He was one of the message boards guys.
Yes. He was on.
He's literally, they're discussing like in great detail, like angles from years ago that people used to talk about on the message boards.
Message board topics.
Total he's bro, he's a wrestling message board fan.
That's interesting.
And like think about like how we basically let a wrestling message board fan buy into the business and with zero dues paid whatsoever. In the realm of like the people in the business looking at it objectively, you know, it's like the guy's got all the money, and it's like, you know, it's like bro, we required a lot of effort to get into this business.
Well, here's the problem.
You were being like there was a physio, like just buying it in and then like telling everybody like, you know, it's a very strange.
But we also must live with the fact that things do not stay the same forever. And when I was in boot camp, they did to me, the my dad did to me when I was growing up in Miami, he'd be put in jail right now. Okay, right. Things change, and we've got to be mature enough to change with them and not think that everything stays the same. 1 and 1 will always be 2, and if you're a good person and you do good things, you know, those are things that resonate with me way more than before, because before I was too selfish and too into myself to give a about anybody else, and I gave no if I hurt people's feelings.
Right.
You know, and I lost a lot of friendships for that because I was not emphatic, and I have a lot of empathy, you know, because at the end of the day, you're going to be a scumbag or you're just going to be a good person. That's up to you. I'm no better than anybody else. I got a break. I took advantage of it. You took advantage of your breaks, and it's what you make with your life. If you want to spend your whole life watching porn and chatterbait and listening to comedy specials, and that's a visceral thing that gets you off, good for you. Sometimes we need to turn off our brain. But, you know, at the end of the day, bro, I just don't have a lot of time to be with punk-ass mother straight up. Yeah.